3, 2, 1. Every 3 seconds, a child under 5 dies of starvation. Every 2 seconds, 6 acres of rainforest are destroyed. But I'm not here to tell you about the negative consequences of our actions, because we know that our actions have an impact on the world around us. I am here to invite you on a mission to make change happen. Yay. Temporary change is easy. We see a charity collection box, so we put money in. We get reminded to recycle, or told that electricity is being wasted, so we turn the lights off for one night. This is temporary, and we need a permanent change. I'm going to be discussing some of the barriers that prevent those, even in the truest of hearts that want to make change happen, from acting. And also, what may be harder, the barriers that prevent those that are not in this room from being in this room with us, and what stops them thinking how we think. I'll then go on to be discussing some examples of individuals that have made change happen and that have led to campaigns. And then some examples of how you can act free. Reaching out that don't care is a really daunting task. There are so many barriers that it seems like they're out of our control. There's arrogance, an unwillingness to open your mind, a stubborn attitude, perception differences. The distance between us and the impact of our actions means that we can deny that our actions have any impact. And also time. The time that it takes for our actions to have an impact means that it's also easy to deny. The other 2 barriers go together. Lifestyle and priorities. Everyone in this room is used to their lifestyle. Your lifestyle leads to priorities. Your priorities mean that you may not want to act. You may not have enough money to feed your children, let alone donate. But overcoming these barriers can be done using one simple technique taught in sales: listening. It's easy to know what we know is right. But that doesn't mean that those that think in a different way, with a different mentality, also know this. And it's easy to impose your ideas on other people. For example, if you're not a vegan, you might have the same mentality or similar mentality as someone who is a vegan, but there might be slight differences which mean that you don't choose to go vegan. In order to understand these, you have to really understand the person. So if you want to reach out to someone that doesn't care, you have to get them to find their motive, something really personal to them, so they can focus and they can act and they can change. So now getting on to the barriers for those that do want to change. Is everyone in this room, what is it that you find that's a barrier that prevents you from acting? Fear. Yeah, have you got fear? Any more? Time. Exhaustion. Yeah. Lazy. Criticism, good one, yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Yeah, so that just shows there are a lot of different barriers that each individual person has. So I've made a list here. Some of them have been said. There's money, time, fear, persecution, policy, permission, accessibility. And at the end of the day, when you feel all these barriers, it's really easy to feel helpless. And I haven't got time here to go over all of these barriers and how to face them. So I'm going to focus on a barrier that encompasses all of these, and that is a feeling of being overwhelmed. A few nods there. So I've got 2 solutions if you feel overwhelmed. The first one is to make your action part of your routine. Choose one action every day that you can do that works towards your cause. Simple action. And by doing this every day, you build momentum towards your cause. And after time goes along, you build up your momentum. You can add another action every day, and then another and another, until you've had a huge impact from a load of tiny actions. The other solution is teamwork. We all know what it feels like being in a team. There's loads of energy, you've got loads of support, loads of ideas are flowing. And if you work in a team, it's a lot easier to see your impact versus an individual. It also means that if you do suffer doubt, if you do feel overwhelmed, that there are people there to keep you going. So now some examples. This year in Idaho, they actually withheld the license for a wildlife killing contest. And this has been going for a while, and last year they tried to stop it, but it didn't work. So this year, rather than giving up, this group joined forces with several other groups, and they got their change to happen. This one actually shows how little effort it actually can take. No, not effort, little... Essentially, it was one lady that did this. She got 2,000 signatures online and 2,000 signatures in person, and this led to the closure of a beach in tourist season where they used to have pups of seals being born, and the tourists would go and they would poke them and prod them. And this one lady got this beach closed so they could breed in peace. So what can you do? If you haven't got much time, you haven't got much money, and you're too afraid to go out there and stand on a boat to prevent the whalers from whaling, there's a site here called Kerry. We discovered it last month. It works by taking the taking the money raised from using the site and turning them into donations. You can do things like sign petitions, join groups, join in discussions, write articles. And this example here, you get 50 points just from clicking on one article a day. I know that means nothing to you, but to me, it means you can offset 1 pound of carbon. And that is almost twice the average person in the UK's production of carbon for that day. So if you do that every day, you're acting for almost 2 people. And it's great because you've got a choice as well. There's things like protecting the rainforest, safe drinking water for children, and more animal-based causes. This is a simple one. Replace Google with Ecosia, and they take the money that they would get from adverts and they plant trees with them. And in case you've forgotten, we're in Plymouth. We've got the university. There are thousands of students there which study sustainability, or at least have sustainability as a part of their course. There are hundreds of lecturers and staff. There's free workshops, campaigns, conferences, networking events. It's a real opportunity we've got here. And look around you. There are so many people with a similar mentality to you, with similar passions, that care about similar things. You can make the most of that. So in summary, when reaching out to those that don't care, it's really important to listen and accept that change takes time. You can't speak to them once, listen to them once, and expect them to become like you. Your role is to listen, to understand, and to share until they reach that eureka moment when they find their motive, their focus, and they do their action to make their change. When dealing with self-doubt, also accept that it takes time. If you do feel overwhelmed, break your challenge down into small actions you can do every day. Find a team to support you and to push you. Make sure that you know what motivates you. Take your motivation and focus to an action and to change. And forgive yourself if you slip up, because everybody does. You don't have to push yourself every single day, constantly. Imagine pushing a car up a hill constantly. One of these days, it's just going to slide right back on top of you. Except that sometimes you have to step back and reflect, and then keep going. But as long as you try, I mean really try, you will drive change. Are there any questions or comments?
Do you belong to any particular organisation? Have you got a cause that matters more to you than others?
I just finished a master's called Sustainable Aquaculture Systems.
Can you run that past us?
Sustainable aquaculture systems.
Oh,
So growing aquatic organisms in a system in a sustainable way. So I'd say in my lifetime goal, I haven't got a particular cause, but what I want to do is I want to educate people and persuade people to act in a way that is sustainable. And then with a focus on sustainable resource production, like food in particular. Anything else?
Just an observation, you're saying about small actions. Actually, by doing those small actions, you don't always have to talk to people or tell people what you're doing or why you're doing it. People will very often observe it, and that will cause them to change without you having to be, you must do this, you must do that, and that's really effective as well. So those actions are really powerful.
Yeah. As well, it's good if you don't shout about it so much. Say it, but don't shout about it. You get some people that give for the sake of showing that they've given a load of money, and then that makes it like it's a big deal, as opposed to accepting that it's just something I've done.
It's a fine art though, isn't it, though, because and it's easy to get it the other way as well, because you can go around the world doing loads of good stuff as best you can, not say a thing about it. Sometimes nobody notices because they're all busy doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, if you'd made a bigger deal of it, actually a few more ripples might have gone out. So it is actually a bit of a skillful art, that one. So
Tell people, but don't brag.
Do what feels right at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about the browser, about Ecosia? Does that really work well?
I think it's run by either Yahoo or Google as like a side bit, and they said that at least 80% of the profits go towards planting trees. And I looked, and actually more than 80% does. So I suppose it's either Yahoo or Google who actually runs it that donates extra from their profits.